Oh, sorry. It says an error occurred. Give me a second here.
Bum, 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 bum. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da. Week 12. Week 12 in the National Football League featuring World of Matchups, NFL handicapping podcast coming to you guys live and direct from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada on the 23rd of November. I am Dexter Reed, your host, and on the other side of the glass, my A1 from day one, producer extraordinaire, and really having a nice stretch here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Spencer the Wiz. What up, dude?
I'm scorched earth right now. It's pretty nuts. I've had I've had a good run in basketball too. I had a terrible bet last night, but overall, man, I'm hitting pretty high right now. I'm just watching it. There's nothing like watching the games. You know what I mean? Like you just really get to know these teams, and once you start seeing them, it's not all just numbers. There's a certain aspect to just like, there's so many small moments in these games and so many like intricacies, and yeah, I've had a good little run here.
Spencer's on fire, folks. Last week, he hit double-digit winners, top point total for World of Matchups this season. I was a toilet bowl, so hopefully you didn't listen to me. But this week, we're going to get right for you guys, and we're going to make you guys some money. Spencer, set it off.
Yeah, this is a really tough week, and we'll start with the Chiefs and Panthers game. This is really tough because there's a lot of strange lines, and a lot of what I would consider to be weird matchups. This is a 10.5 point line. That's a weird number. 10.5 is very strange. You have Bryce Young, a little resurgence. I mean, let's be honest here. And, oh, man. I was looking down the line. There are tons of games where I'm going to have the same kind of sentiment where it's like, yeah, man, obviously you love the Chiefs in this game, but 10.5, the Chiefs still to this point, haven't blown anyone out, and that's a blow. You're covering 10.5. That is a blowout. So it feels so gross to take the Carolina Panthers, but I decided this week that I'm just going to go with my gut on all these games because I think if I overthink them, I'm going to start going a little crazy and be inconsistent. I'm going to stick with my gut this week throughout the entire lineup. I'm going to say the Carolina Panthers cover this 10.5, and I think Bryce Young has a half decent game.
Spencer, I'm right there with you, man. I am. I mean, I've been really thinking about Kansas City Chief football more than usual this week based off what happened in Buffalo last week, which I'm going to always go down with Patrick Mahomes. So I really wasn't that upset about it. When I looked at the schedule earlier in the year, that was one of the games I had circled that the Chiefs were going to lose for a lot of different reasons. So it just kind of is what it is. If there's ever a thing as a bad loss, a good loss, that was it for Kansas City. Last time they lost, they refocused and won the Super Bowl. I expect them to do the same thing here. They've already went out and addressed the left tackle situation. They brought in somebody who I think would be very good for them down the stretch. Look, losses happen, man. And there's no shame in losing to Josh Allen. That being said, everything you said about Kansas City is true here. They haven't blown anybody out. I couldn't tell you the last time the Chiefs blew somebody out by over 10 points. I know the Panthers are bad, but they're winners of 2 straight, coming off a bye week. They're playing a lot better, and they can run the ball. Now, Kansas City stops the run, but it just kind of reminds me of when the Chiefs played the Raiders here and the game was in hand and they're up by 10 and then they go into prevent defense and they give up a score at the end of the game and they only win by 7 and they don't cover. I fully expect the same thing to happen here. I think the Chiefs are kind of just, I don't want to say sleepwalking, but they're not concerned with what's happening during the season outside of getting home field advantage. Now, that has to equate to wins, but they don't care about covering, man. I really think that Andy Reid is holding some plays back. I think Spags is holding some defensive, formations back. I don't think they're showing their full cards to the world yet. I really don't, man. I think that they realize that if they're going to three-peat, they're going to have to pull some rabbits out of some hats that people have never seen before, and you don't do that in a regular season. All that, to me, equates to a Carolina backdoor cover. Give me those 10.5 points. I still love my Chiefs, but on this show, we're realists, guys, and this is about making money. This is not about fandom up in here. This is not about I love Patrick Mahomes up in here. This is about cashing me outside. That's what this is about. This is about making money, and if I'm being honest, there's no way in hell I could take Kansas City here. It's a win-win for me. If they do finally blow somebody out, they're back on track. I'll be happy, but the smart money is on the Panthers here. Take the Panthers, not with a whole lot of confidence because I could easily see them getting murked, but if I'm laying dollars and my life on the line, it's Panthers plus 10.5.
It's just too big of a number for me. Let's jump over to this Vikings-Bears game. Like I said, these are some really crazy lines, and that hook is just a kind of bananas. And this Bears defense is really something else. I mean, truly, it is truly something else. It's one of the best in the league. It's got to be top 3, in my opinion, to this point. I'm going to take the hook. I could see a world where the Bears win this game. I'm not going to... I think saying this is a trap game is maybe a little too extreme because it's like, would it really be out of this world if the Bears found a way to squeak this one out? No, but the Vikings aren't the best team in the, they're not world beaters at this point. We know that for a fact going into this game. The Bears obviously, probably on some level feel that they, it's a must-win game for them if they want to like maybe find a wild card spot. And you got an 8-2 Vikings team. I mean, this has just loss written all over it. I mean, I'm not going to go as far to take Bears money line, but on a teaser card or something, that gets up to like 9. Wow, I feel really confident about this one. So just because I get that extra hook, I really like the Chicago Bears in this game.
I love the Bears in this game. Don't ask me why, outside of their defense. But I will tell you this, I've seen games like this before. San Francisco goes in there and gets demolished on a day where they should win convincingly. Like, I've seen good teams go to Chicago in cold weather and blow it when they're favored. And, guys, I saw the Minnesota Vikings struggle to beat a Jacksonville team on the road. I mean, struggle. And the Bears are better than Jacksonville. And at some point, the Bears have to put this together. I mean, I don't care if you put 13 personnel and have every tight end you have on the field with that line. You have to protect Caleb Williams better. You just have to give this guy better time. I don't care what it's going to take, but you have to. And so I think they run the ball a little bit more. I think Keenan Allen, who's done nothing all year, comes off the questionable tag and actually makes enough plays here to help them. They get a Dunze involved. And I think the defense is going to have a very lovely day. Guys, I like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has gotten a raw deal everywhere he has been. However, I think this is a bad spot for him. Jay Jettis has been okay this year. He has not been what I thought he would be. Jamar Chase is what I thought Jay Jettis would be this year. Jalen Johnson is very, very good. He's a top cover corner in this league. He's going to be on Jets. Just mix in Cole Kmet, mix in your ancillary pieces, and play with some pride here, man. And I think the Bears could win this game. Look, if you got balls, it's Bears money line. If you're just trying to win a little money, it's Bears plus 3.5. But I am not sold on what the Vikings are doing. This is looking more like the Vikings that I thought going into the year I'd be getting. Now, they beat up on the scrubs and Tennessee and Jacksonville, but, this is a good defense here. Bears are a top 10 defense, man. At home in the cold, they're going to play really, really hard. TJ Hawkinson has done absolutely nothing for me coming off the bench, coming off that ACL. Something about it feels funny to me, and so you know what I live by, Spencer. It's home dogs pay dividends, man. I live by that. If you just go home dogs pay dividends in your lifetime, guys, you're going to win more than you lose. Give me the Bears. Bear down. Take the 3.5. And go to Sizzler.
All right, we now have the Tennessee Titans going to the Texans. Again, another game where you're just looking at it, you go, yeah, I like the Houston Texans here. And then you see the -8. That's a bizarre line. I hate to take dogs on every single game, but I'm going to do it again. And I went against the Tennessee Titans last week, and I won that game. But division games are so funky, man. They have a different set of rules than anything else. And, obviously the Texans kind of had a nice little victory last week, but that's against a very lowly Cowboys team that is absolutely garbage. And it was actually closer than it should have been for a very long time in that game. I hate the Tennessee Titans. They're not a good football team, but do I think that they could string together a fairly close game against the Texans? Because I'm not going to say let's be honest, because it's kind of like well known at this point, but CJ Stroud hasn't been great this year. I mean, your sophomore season is like always one of your hardest, right? The sophomore slump is a very real thing, and I won't go as far to say Tennessee Titans win this game. To say that would it be the biggest shocker in human history if the Tennessee Titans do a little garbage division win here? I'm going to say no. I mean, I'll get a little sneak peek. I have the Tennessee Titans on a teaser ticket. I'm getting a boatload of points, and they can do enough, man. It's not like they're the most anemic team of all time, but I just think there's going to be some divisional shenanigans, even just a garbage score at the end. 8 points is so much, man. You're getting a lot of opportunity and windows to cover that spread in this game when you take it. So I'm taking the third dog in a row here against the spread.
I'm taking a third dog in a row as well, man. I watched that Titans game last week. They got jobbed by some really bad officiating. Will Levis was screwed out of a 50-plus yard bomb to Calvin Ridley. I mean, the offensive line didn't give him any help. They gave him 5 sacks to Minnesota. They should have covered that game, man. They got screwed in that game, and I think that what you're saying about being a division game is real here. Look, I like the Texans as much as anyone, but they have not looked great this year at all to me. At all, man. They lost a horrific game at home versus Detroit. Look, this is the real play here. Whatever Tony Pollard's overs are, just take them all, man. Catches, rushes, anytime tutty. Tajay Spears is out. They're going to lean on him heavy. They only ran the ball 16 times last week collectively as a team. Will Levis hasn't been horrendous since coming back. He hasn't, man. He's been okay. And okay might be enough to save him his quarterback starting job. He's auditioning for his life. Dude, Will Levis is singing for supper right now. You can't tell me that they're not going to play good. I think Will Anderson might still be out. Dude, just control Joe Mixon here, man. 8 is a ton of points. I'm sorry. That is it's just too many points for a division game for me. I'm sorry. I can't lay it. It's not like the Houston Texans have looked like the Detroit Lions. Lions cover spreads all day, every day versus everyone. That's not who the Texans are. And CJ Stroud has not been good. He's been okay. Yes, he lost Nico. Yes, he lost Diggs. Ain't nobody giving Patrick Mahomes any help over these excuses. Win the games. And they've been very pedestrian. D'Amico Ryans is a good coach for sure, but 8 is too many. Third dog in a row. Stamp it. I'll take the 8 points all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
All right, now we have the Detroit Lions. They're going to Indianapolis. Another tough line for me as I was looking at it. 7.5. That hook is scary. And we've seen that the Lions can and I took them last week, can absolutely blow teams out of the water. So I think it's very tempting to take Detroit here, but I was right about the Colts. That was probably my best call last week, that not only would they cover, but they would win. I felt pretty confident.
We both liked it. That's one of the 5 wins I had. The Jets are horrible, bro.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game. And Anthony Richardson's fighting for his career, and he showed that last week, right? The Colts at home are a pretty darn good team, and I think the Lions are due for a little disappointment. I know they're getting a little bit healthier, so that's always a good thing. That Sam Laporta being a late scratch last week was so killer, man. It was so killer for me in fantasy. But I hate to do this because I've been riding the Lions train for a long time now, and I hate to jump off, but that hook is just kind of crazy, man. They're like begging you to take the Lions. They're like, look, they've been blowing out every team, but I don't know. Terrian Arnold's a little questionable in this game. Like, he's a big piece in their secondary, obviously.
He gives up a lot of penalties, man. They should go right at him.
I'm going to take another dog in a row. I can't help it, man. These hooks, I think, are going to be killer. Like, these bookies, like, these half points mean something. You know what I mean? It's like they always just find a way to keep
these guys pay their mortgages on these half points, bro. These guys are getting their lawns mowed over a half a point. That's a steak dinner for the wife and the kids over a half a point. All over
The Colts are a
America?
very dangerous team at home, and I was looking
Absolutely.
down the injury list. They're a fairly healthy team right now. The Indianapolis Colts, a team that's also, by the way, very desperate. Like their season's borderline on
Mm-hmm.
it's on the line, 5-6. You can't
Mm-hmm.
go 5-7 and expect to do anything. So they really need this game. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but I think they're going to put up a pretty good fight here.
I think so too, man. The tide might be turning for the Colts. They're 5-6, but what people have to understand is that there's different waves to the NFL season, and I kind of feel like they're coming out of their tsunami. You know what I mean? You benched AR-15. Flacco was an unmitigated disaster. Now you reinsert the guy, and all of a sudden he gets a big win versus what everyone considers somehow, in my mind, I don't get why, to be a good Jet defense. I mean, to me, the Jets are the most overrated defense in the NFL, and they're a horrible team. But still, to go on the road and do that in the fashion with which they did it, and now to come home and enter Lucas Oil Stadium versus probably what everyone is already anointing the next Super Bowl winner, they're going to be fired up, man. They are going to be galvanized, and they're going to be ready to play. I'm sorry, 7.5 points is too much, man. They're going to play with pride. And I'm here to tell you, man, if you get the Anthony Richardson that started to flash last season, if you get anything like that tomorrow, they're covering this game. Guys, it wouldn't shock me to see them win this game. Every year, teams have losses that are just make no sense, man. And the Lions, they haven't had theirs yet. And I kind of feel like the Lions are peaking too early. My fruition, my pick of them going to the NFC Championship game versus the Eagles is starting to come to fruition for sure. But like they haven't really had much dissension. I mean, it's like trick plays. It's like winning with 5 picks still. Holy Spirit-led field goals going through with less than a centimeter to spare. I mean, different dances in the end zone. I mean, it's just been a party in Detroit. Seriously, I mean, the Motor City hasn't seen anything like this in years. At some point, man, a bad gust of wind is going to blow through this team. This cannot continue. Guys, it's unsustainable. Even with J-Mo being out, they're still rolling fools. Dude, give me those 7.5 points here. The Colts are no pushovers, man. I've seen the Colts win good games versus teams on the road, and now they're home fighting for their lives. Anthony Richardson is fighting for his career. You're not going to tell me that if this game is close and it's 3rd and 4, that Anthony Richardson's not taking off and running here and going to roll somebody if he has to? You're out of your minds. Give me 7.5 points. No one loves the Lions like I do. I've been on the line. Spencer will tell you guys, man, I've been on the line since I met Spencer. This is almost 3 to 4 years. I saw this coming, but I just can't take him here, man. 4th dog in a row, and we're either eating steak this week or eating Spam and getting run off the airwaves.
I can make a pretty good Spam meal. Like
a little Spam Masubi. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, we have the New England Patriots going to Miami. Yeah, this is yet another line, 7.5. I'm sorry, man. I'm taking the Patriots in this game. What have the Dolphins done? The Rams game, all right, I'll give you that one. That was a really good game that they played. But, dude, they look pretty anemic against the Raiders. I mean, a little garbage, touchdown at the end kind of sealed it and made that game seem a lot less close than it actually was. And I know it's in Miami, so, there's a lot of advantage. But the Dolphins just have not looked good since Tua's been back. Out of, 3 out of the games that Tua's been back, they've looked good in one of them. He did not look very good last week. And the Patriots, they play really hard. I'm getting that hook again. It's just, you can see a garbage touchdown here. It's like the Dolphins are a team that is viable to give up an absolute garbage touchdown. They did last week. There was a lot of garbage in that game. That entire Raiders-Dolphins game was garbage.
It's trash.
From start to finish. That was one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life.
Horrible.
And this is another divisional game. I'm obviously not going to win all of these, talking about all of these dogs, but I feel like if I had the strategy where I'm getting this hook in these kind of divisional games, I feel confident that you can just see it now. When you're watching Red Zone, there's just going to be witching hour, garbage, shenanigans all up and down the scoreboard. It's impossible to 100% predict, which of those it'll be. I think it's going to be more than not, though. And I'm not a huge fan of the Miami Dolphins anyways. I don't think they're a very good football team. And, the Patriots are going to play so hard in this game because it's Drake May, his first time playing in Miami. Did you know this guy's going to be so fired up? And he's been pretty good, man.
I love Drake May, man.
I think they're going to do enough to like keep this game fairly close. I think this could easily be a 7-point victory for the Miami Dolphins.
You were spot on about Drake May. I like Jaden Daniels a little bit more, but I'm telling you right now, folks, Drake May is him. Is he the next Tom Brady? I don't know about that, but he's him, dude. He's him. And let me tell you, this Patriot team is already better than I thought they would be. Already at week 12. Yeah, I see a very bright future for them as long as coaching doesn't ruin it and they bring in finally get maybe like if T. Higgins goes to New England, man, we're having a different conversation. They're a decent team. Miami has not looked good at all at any point this year to me, whether Tua's been there or not. I'm just not feeling what they're doing. I know they're home. I know the sun is out, so I should be taking a resounding Miami win. I think Miami money line is the better play, although that's being scared about it. I like New England here too, man, for a fifth dog here in a row. I'm not scared to think that New England's going to keep this game close, if not potentially steal it at the end, man. Ramondre Stevenson can move the ball. We already talked about May. And somehow they just find a way to get the ball down the field with no one. The DeMario Douglases and the Kendrick Bournes and the Jalen Polks and the Hunter Henrys. I mean, these guys are not good. But they win games with these guys, and they cover with these guys. I'm looking for a new valuable soldiers now that the Jaguars are out of there, you know what I mean? And it could be the New England Patriots. They've covered a couple games for me this season. I mean, let me paint this picture for you here, Spencer. It's 12-15, and the Patriots are probably down by 5, and Drake May's at the 30, and there's like, I don't know, 35 seconds left in the game. Like, they're going to cover that. They're going to cover that. Or if it's 2 points or 1 point, they're going to go down and win that game. I have zero faith in the Miami defense. They have had one really good game. It's when they played the Rams and screwed me. Outside of that, they have not showed me much all season long. And so I have zero faith in them. I'm going to take the Pats plus the 7.5. Like I said earlier, man, all of America bets these games, man. And these bookies, man, these odds makers, literally, they build houses off people losing on hooks. They build houses. They buy Jaguars because you lost by a half point. When it comes down to that many people gambling on football, those half points matter. Buy the half if you're scared. But I wouldn't bet the Dolphins here. This is a division game, and the Patriots are better than people think.
And now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New York.
Valuable soldiers.
I'm going to make myself sick here. I'm
Me
taking
too.
the Giants,
God,
man.
we
6.5.
We agree on everything today.
It's like you cut Daniel Jones. You got, Tommy Cutlett's coming back in. It's going to galvanize the team. They fired the GM. Anytime there's a firing, man, they play hard. It adds a little extra juice to it. A lot of these, because a lot of these players probably feel like, man, if we didn't have Daniel Jones in the game, we'd be a lot more competitive, even if it's true or not. Like these guys could trick themselves into believing that. It is unfortunate that Neighbors is questionable, and if he was in, I would feel way confident about this. But the Buccaneers, obviously, Mike Evans is going to be limping into the game. How much is he going to play? They're like, I don't know.
He could be a decoy.
He more than likely will, and he'll play limited snaps for sure. I mean, from the way it sounds, at least. The Giants are at home. This is a game they could win. It's like just a dumb game where it's like they kick a field goal in the last seconds, or the other way around. The Buccaneers get an ugly win where they kick a field goal with the time expiring. It just seems like one of those games. Do I really expect the Buccaneers to just blow them out of the water? Not really, man. I think the Giants are going to play really hard this week. I think that Daniel Jones things is what's going to give them the edge in this contest for sure.
I absolutely love New York here. Love. Tommy Cutlets is back. Shout out all my New York and New Jersey Italians. Dude, you cannot minimize what this means for New York. At some point, you have to rip the Band-Aid off. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. I mean, you have to get rid of Daniel Jones and you have to eat the money. Guys, look at what Denver did with Russell Wilson. They gave up their whole life for Russell Wilson. It didn't work. They ripped the Band-Aid off. They got rid of him, and look at them now. Denver literally is a top 15 team in the National Football League with a franchise quarterback and a good defense and a Super Bowl winning head coach. Guys, it doesn't take that long, but you have to make the decision to do it. This is where Cleveland's at, too. Dude, get rid of Deshaun Watson. You made a mistake. Guys, sometimes you roll the dice and it doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out. Sometimes what you think is going to be great isn't. I mean, I was in love with this one girl and it didn't work out. And then I met my wife. You know what I mean? Like, rip the Band-Aid off. And they've done that. And I know New York in November, man, it's going to be cold. But Big Blue has been waiting for something to be excited about. How you doing? Here they come, dude. Tommy Cutlets played well last year in any relief spots he had. You can't tell me that getting 6.5 here is a bad play. Guys, this is my best bet. How about that? How about that? Not something you thought you'd have ever heard me say this year on World of Matchups in reference to the New York Giants, but styles make fights, and it's the spot that they're in. Mike Evans he's limping. I'd be shocked if he plays well, if he plays at all. Godwin is out. I mean, you are just playing with ancillary pieces. Your running back room is the strength. And I'm telling you, Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau and crew, they're going to play hard. I'd feel a lot better about it if Malik Neighbors wasn't on the other side of questionable, but he might suit up, man. And this is what I know. Tommy DeVito knows that this is his chance. Guys, there is a world, believe it or not, where the starting quarterback of the New York Football Giants next year is Tommy DeVito. There's a world where that is. Tommy Cutlets could be your savior. It could be like the Grimace Mets. These things happen, man. It could be just like Grimace and the Mets. The Mets were a couple wins away from going to World Series. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that the Giants are all of a sudden going to be a playoff team, but you cannot give me these points at home. I might take every dog on the slate today, Spencer, and I feel good about doing it. Are they all going to hit? No, but this isn't about emotions. This is about winning money. This is about winning money, and Baker Mayfield, to his credit, has not had a real bad game either, man. This could be one of those classic trap games where you're just like, yeah, Tampa's good. Dude, Tampa's defense sucks. The defense sucks. You know what this is, guys? Just like with Tony Pollard, this is the Tyrone Tracy game. Take all his overs. You're welcome. I'm telling you. This is what you do. You take all his overs. You take an anytime touchdown. And then when Tommy DeVito drives down the field to kick a game-winning field goal, you go make yourself a chicken parm sandwich. I have spoken.
All right. One more game on the morning slate here. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to Washington.
They're so bad.
I'm not stopping this train because the Dallas Cowboys have been nothing but absolute steaming piles of garbage, and it's a 10.5 point line. Everyone's gonna be like, you know what? Washington's just gonna blow them out. I don't know, man. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game necessarily, but that's just too extreme in my opinion.
Me too.
Have the Washington Commanders ever just like blown? You know, it's like it's a division game, and I don't know, man. I can't remember the last time the Washington Commanders blew out the Cowboys. Maybe like not in my lifetime. You know, it's like I'm trying to think back. It's like it's a very rare occasion, and they're like banking on that to happen. Now, if it was a 7.5 point spread, okay, maybe I can see like. You know, I could see 10 or 8 or something weird like that, but 10.5. I mean, the Cowboys are due for a decent game, especially because they got embarrassed on prime time. You know, the last time they were out at home. Maybe it's better for them to be away from home at this point because, you know, Dallas just seems like a cesspool. The roof is falling off. There's like panels falling off the roof in Dallas. You know what I mean? I think this is like a needed vacation for them almost. It's a division rival where no one in the world is going to give them a chance. They're just going to say, you know what, Dallas is terrible. They're just going to lose by 15 points every game. And this is just like one of those kinds of weeks, in my opinion, where they'll play enough. They'll do just enough where it'll be like a 10-point game or a 7-point game or something stupid like that. Just some divisional nonsense. You know, I really do think Dallas is due for a half decent performance against a division rival.
After getting embarrassed 34-10 at home, the roof is falling. Things are not looking well in Dallas. Dallas is like one of those cities, kind of like New York, where the media pressure is heavy. You know, the Micah Parsons podcast is just all these distractions that are happening that probably kind of equate to just bad football outside of the injuries and such. I'm of the thought process here, Spencer, that Trey Lance should be playing. I
Yeah,
don't understand
easy.
why. I don't understand why Trey
Easily.
Lance is not on the field. You cannot convince me that Cooper Rush gives this team the best chance to win. I mean, he had some stats last week, but they were all in garbage time. You're trying to win the game, or maybe you're not. But the thing is if you're not trying to win the game and tank for the season, what are you tanking for? You just paid Dak. So you're not tanking for a good quarterback. Like, what are you tanking for? Like, this is a team that's got some decent pieces. I mean, okay, maybe they want to get the running back from Boise State, but you'll probably be, top 5. You'll still be able to get the kid, win some games, man. And this is a division matchup. Washington, I can't give them 10.5. I can't tell you the last time I bet the Washington Commanders and they covered a 10.5 spread. I mean, they were the John Riggins Redskins. I mean, it's just ridiculous to think that this team is going to blow out Dallas when they still have a somewhat decent defense. At some point, they're going to put up a decent performance, man. Getting away from Dallas is probably the best thing that could happen to them. And literally, right now, like a lot of other teams, a win just calms everyone down. A win just kind of stops the bleeding. It just gets everyone off your back. We know you stink, but wow, you won. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be trying hard to play. And guys like Micah Parsons, man, it's time that the energy that you're putting into your podcast equates to the energy that you're showing on the field. And a lot of people have been saying this about him. And he's going to want a monster contract, and I'm not so sure he's really earning it. He's one of these guys who's name only. Like, okay, if you're the Kelsey brothers, because you guys have done stuff. All these athletes want to have podcasts. Guys, wait till you're done or close to being done. You need to be focusing on the pigskin right now, and I need to see more from Dallas. I think I see it this week. Like I said, Cooper Rush is trash. Don't be surprised if you see Trey Lance get in this game. And Emmanuel Forbes and company being on CeeDee Lamb. I know CeeDee's banged up. I'll take a banged-up CeeDee Lamb versus a 100% healthy wide receiver on any other team most days, and I think they cover the 10.5. Dallas plus the points.
All right, jumping into the afternoon slate. Yeah, it's the Denver Broncos going to Las Vegas, which is worth nothing. I think I went on a rant on this already. Like, there is no home field for the Raiders. It doesn't even feel like the Raiders Stadium. It's a neutral field. I mean,
It's a neutral field.
Other than the stadium being black, does anything on there make it feel like you're inside the Raiders Stadium? I mean, to me, it doesn't at all.
God, the Raiders are so bad.
It just looks like a building in the strip. But, I mean, I feel like there's a couple things you have to think about with the Raiders here. First of all, this is the to say this is the best season they've had in 20 years, obviously, is wrong. Other than maybe the year that Derek Carr snapped his leg, the Raiders have just floated around 500, other than the Jamarcus Russell year. This is finally the season where the Raiders are being you know what? Let's lose, and actually all of these teams that are good. Look at the Texans. I mean, you look at the Cardinals. How did these teams turn their franchises around after years of mediocrity? They got a quarterback, and can you find a sneaky quarterback here and there? I mean, I guess maybe, but are you really banking on that? And the Raiders have not drafted a first-round quarterback since Jamarcus Russell. That seems like it should be impossible. I've seen this team cycle through Carson Palmer, Jason Campbell, Bruce Gradkowski, Matt McGloin. I mean, it's a never-ending list, right? The Raiders have finally are in a spot now where they're legitimately losing. No stupid games right now. They have really good pieces. One of the things about the Raiders season that has gone under the table, they have literally had some of the worst injuries. This is one of the most injury-ridden seasons they've ever had in a really long time. It's contributing way more to their season than I think people give credit for. So in this game, it's not going to be good for them. I mean, it's a 6-point spread. That's fine with me. They are easily going to lose this game by a touchdown. The Raiders have no fight in them anymore. They're just going out there and going through the motions. Last week was just ugly. There's nothing about the game where I'm ugh. I don't know. I can't even explain it. Where it's just that was just a simmed game. It's if you're playing Madden and you sim the game against the Miami Dolphins and the Raiders, it's the exact same outcome.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going out there and field goal here, you get a touchdown here. There's just it's not a lot of fight, and I don't think AP is going to be there next year. It's another revolving door for the Raiders head coach, but they're actually putting themselves in position to turn their franchise around. And I really believe that. And they keep sliding further and further and further up that draft board. When it looked like they were going to be stuck at 7, the Cleveland Browns get a win. Hey, maybe the Giants can get a win here. It's like suddenly the Raiders might find themselves in the first or second pick, which is unbelievable to think about. But they're really like getting close to that spot. And, they're going to lose this week. And that's fine. Like, I think the Raiders are falling into line here. I think somehow Tom Brady's black magic is like starting to like seep its way into the team, where it's like the Raiders are just very quietly losing these games. They're not like the biggest blowouts ever. Like, it was a pretty damn close game against the Miami Dolphins last week. Like I said, that garbage touchdown like made it seem like horrible. It really wasn't though. Like they were kind of like right there the entire time. They're just like riding the wave right now until the end of the season. And I think the Denver Broncos, they're a very cocky team right now. They want to get their lick back because, again, the Raiders beat the Broncos like 12 times in a row going into the season. They're going to want this game. And the Raiders obviously do not want anything right now. They're already looking to next season. So I like the Denver Broncos, but it's not to say that I'm like the biggest doomer as a Raiders fan right now. This is the most excited I've been as a Raiders fan since that year that Derek Carr snapped his leg, which is crazy to say for a 2-8 team.
Yeah, well, you're excited about the future. You're not going to win anything now, so that's what you should be looking to. I mean, it's time that we turn the page on the Raiders' mystique and get back to, those Raiders. I mean, maybe they're dead. Maybe the black hole is dead. But, I mean, you have this amazing stadium that's 20 minutes from both our houses. It's fantastic in there. I mean, they deserve better. And Shedeur Sanders wants to be a Raider. Deion's going to make it happen, Eli Manning style. There's only one thing that needs to happen, and that's just tank, baby. Just lose. Right now, going to see the Raiders is just something to do. It's just something to do. You get a couple hot dogs, you know what I mean? Maybe you got a hot girlfriend you take her to impress her or something. Some cool halftime show, Little John shows up or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is, because you're not winning anything, and you're not winning anything by winning. You're actually hurting yourself by winning. So lose. The Broncos have been beaten up by the Raiders for so long that they're going to take it out on you tomorrow. And literally, the Broncos, and no one can talk me off this, the Broncos took Bo Nix so the Raiders wouldn't get him. Broncos didn't want Bo Nix. Bo Nix was supposed to be a third rounder that's actually turned into, literally, there's an argument to be made for Bo Nix being the best rookie quarterback coming out of that class right now. Right now. And that defense has played well. I told you they were going to destroy Atlanta last week. Dude, they went easy on Atlanta. They could have scored 50 if they wanted to. Super Bowl winning head coach versus just a hapless black and silver team. I mean, they're just hapless. Everyone's hurt. So Zamir White has been the biggest bust of the year, of the NFL season. I had such high hopes for him. He's garbage. Madison is hurt. Devontae is gone. Like, the only blue chip you have is Brock Bowers, and half of Raider Nation was upset about this pick. Guys, can you imagine how bad you would be right now if you didn't have Brock Bowers? I mean, a guy could be the next George Kittle, and you guys are upset. There's a lot of hope and promise, but some things have to happen first, and it starts with losing. It starts with losing, and I see Denver running right over you guys tomorrow. It's going to be pathetic, and there's no home field to be had here. It's so sad. Guys, if you go to Allegiant when your team plays there, it'll be like a home game. When the Kansas City Chiefs come here, I go there every year. My wife and I, we go. Dude, it's just a sea of red. When Pittsburgh goes, it's just terrible towels everywhere. You're like asking yourself, where are we? Because it's just nothing but a money grab, and it's time to get away from that, because the Raiders are a proud, storied franchise with a rich history. Ever since Al Davis sued the league and the Tuck rule ensued, you guys have never recovered. I think Spencer was 5. It's time for us to turn the page here, but there's some things that have to happen first, and it starts with losing games, and this is one you're going to lose tomorrow by at least 7 points. Denver -6 is the play.
And I really believe in Shedeur Sanders. I know we're going to do a lot of draft coverage, but man, like I'm
He's a good player.
Like very excited.
He's a good player.
He was like floating, on the edge last year, I think, for Colorado. He's had a completely different season this year. I mean, he looks like sharp.
He looks like somebody that wants to go to the NFL and make his dad proud. That's who
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders looks like. And the fact that he's acting so thirsty about coming to the Raiders. Have you followed this guy's Twitter?
Oh
You
yeah.
would think
It's
that
crazy.
he is on the
His
Raiders
dad's talking
already.
about it on Ice Cube's podcast,
That's what I'm
man. I mean, it
saying. You
is.
would think, like they are going to do everything humanly possible to make sure Shedeur Sanders is the opening day quarterback for Vegas next year. Guys, dude, write this down. If there's a bet for this, make it now. I'm telling you, because they are going to go out of their way. And Dion is gone. He's talking about how he wants to stay in Colorado. I'd be shocked if he's gone. Once his kid is gone, once Travis Hunter is gone, dude, what's your motivation to stay in Colorado? Seriously, stop the cap. We know you're gone too.
All right. We have the San Francisco 49ers led by Drew Driscoll traveling to the Packers. This game is like bizarrely close. Like the line, it's like 5.5. And I know the Packers kind of had I'm not even going to say a letdown. That's a weird divisional game. And, the Packers aren't world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. But if I'm getting Green Bay at home -5.5 against Drew Driscoll, I'm going to take that. And also, Bosa is out for this game, too. It's a little double whammy for the 49ers in this game. It's like almost a trap game in a way, I guess. But I like the Green Bay Packers here. I mean, they played good football. I know the 49ers are going to play hard, but there's a bad interception in this game that's going to like help the Packers cover. I guess that's my impression. There really isn't much to say about this game. It's a beat up 49ers team that hasn't really looked good at any point this entire season. Going to play against Green Bay, who's one of the best teams at home. I think it's that simple for me.
It's that simple for me as well for a number of different reasons. Obviously, Purdy being out is huge. I mean, he's got a sore shoulder that I think is worse than they're letting on. It's going to be Brandon Allen who's going to be starting.
Okay.
So I don't know much about this kid. What I do know is that they're going to run CMC into the ground to try to keep this close. I think they're going to have a hard time keeping this close. Trent Williams is on the other side of questionable. This is. I mean, Nick Bosa's out. I mean, remember when I told you that this was the year of the fall of the Niners? Remember when I said that? The 49ers are last place in their division, guys. Dude, they're not a good football team. Literally, the window of opportunity to win a Super Bowl is so small in the NFL that if you don't go through it when you have that opportunity, you may not see it again for a decade. And that's about to be what's going to happen to the San Francisco 49ers here. Debo will be traded. He's going to be gone. He is very inconsistent, and he's always, always, always hurt. They draft Pearsall. I like him. They're going to overpay for Purdy. I like that. You're going to have to do that just to kind of hold it together. But a lot of these guys are old. They paid Trent Williams. Why'd they do that? Brandon Ayuk is useless at $30 million, and he's hurt. I love the Packers here, man. Packers know that they let them off the hook last year in the divisional game when that's a game they had won. They should have won that game. Jordan Love made a pass that no quarterback not named Mahomes should ever make, and it cost them the game. Packers are playing very, very good football right now. They're on their way to the playoffs versus a team that's just trying to tread water. I'm not a big believer in this bang-bang Niner gang. They don't have a real home field advantage. Teams go there and win all the time, man. I mean, hell. Arizona went there and won this year, and they're a 50-50 team. Stop. Give me those minus me on that 5.5 here, man. I think they can win this game by a touchdown, minus all the guys that are hurt. And we don't know nothing about this guy back there who's going to be throwing the ball. I mean, Brandon Allen sounds like a guy that works at your school to me. Like, stop. Minus the points here. Packers all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
All right. We have the Arizona Cardinals going to Seattle. This is like, I've seen a pick 'em. I've also seen -1 for this game. So I think it's going to fluctuate all leading up to it because these are just two evenly matched teams. This is literally a coin flip game by definition. I don't know, man. I feel like every time you get confidence from the Seahawks, that's when they have their biggest letdown. And I think the Cardinals are playing decent football right now. I know Seattle is like good home field advantage, and
no, they don't, bro. Let's before you continue, I just have to say this: the days of the 12th man being a tough place to play and having good home field are over. They lost to the Giants at home. They lost to the Rams at home. They lost to some bad teams in their building this year. So let's go. I mean, Richard Sherman's gone. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just got to put that out there for all you guys who are thinking about this. Their home field is not what you think it is.
I'm just gonna lean Cardinals. I can't. I've never seen the Seahawks string together like three. I did in the beginning of the year they did string together some wins, but ever since then they just kind of been fumbling every week. Just like, hey, this is the week where they can like really put it together. Like nice win last week, and it's like I just feel like they're due for a letdown because that's just the kind of team they are. They're a letdown kind of team where it's always high expectations and they just never live up to those expectations. It's just a 500 team to the very end. And I think that's what you're going to see here. This is a winnable game for them, and also the Cardinals are a pretty darn good team. I mean, they've shown that obviously. It took them a little bit of time to like pick it up. I kind of thought the Cardinals would roll into the season being really good, but you look at this Cardinals team, man, I think a 7-4, that's a strong season. I think they're gaining that momentum. Their offense, at times looks so good. Sometimes they've had massive letdowns, but I say they've been better more than they've been worse, I guess, as of recent. I don't feel confident about this game at all, but I'll take the Cardinals if I'm picking a side here.
I don't feel confident about it, but I'm going to take Seattle. Even after everything I just said, I just think that there's better talent on the Seahawks team, and they're coming off a humongous win on the road, led by Geno Smith, scamper into the end zone versus the San Francisco 49ers. At some point, this team has to play better at home. They've been horrible. I mean, imagine losing at home versus Daniel Jones with no one to help, with no Malik Neighbors. I mean, that is disgusting, man. That's bad. But
That
the
was the
emergence
worst game of the year.
that seriously might be the worst home loss any team has suffered this year. I think it's that. But the emergence of JSN is real. DK is finally back and healthy. They can run the ball. Their defense has been an unmitigated disaster, and they've been a humongous letdown when you consider what they have. Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, these guys are dogs, and they just haven't been playing up to the potential. But I don't have to lay nothing here. I just have to hope that the crowd shows up and helps them win the game. You know what I mean? Like it's a money line pick. I mean, just win, baby. Are they really this bad to lose at home to Arizona, who is, on again, off again? I don't know. I mean, I'm not taking this pick with any kind of confidence. So there's that. But they are coming off a huge win in San Francisco versus that's a team they never beat. You know what I mean? Ever. And so give me Seattle with not a whole lot of confidence to just win at home.
All right, coming into the end of the slate here. Sunday Night Football is the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Los Angeles to play the Rams. This is a tough game. This is another one of those games that's really tough to call, and it's only a field goal. I could easily see this being a push, but I just lean Philadelphia. I feel like they're playing, I think they're on the really upward trend at the current moment. They just figured out that all you have to do is give Saquon Barkley the ball.
That's it.
It's like I know you have all these weapons and they're so good, for Philly, but there is no one better than Saquon Barkley. He's just that good, and I think they've realized that now. You don't need to mix it together. You just get to, you get to drop the hammer after Saquon Barkley starts going off. You know what I mean? Like that's when you just open it up, and I think they were trying to just too much balance at the beginning of the year, and it's like screw that, dude. Like this guy is like unbelievable, like when he gets on and when he gets momentum, and they're leaning into that a lot more. And the Rams are just a beatable football team, I mean, they are a 500 football team. And I think the Eagles are much better than that. And like I said, I could easily see this being a push. So I feel like that's kind of what I'm leaning towards here. The Rams, I mean, their home field advantage is just so. I mean, it's not anything.
So far, it's like Allegiant.
Yeah,
it's like Allegiant.
It's a neutral field. I
neutral
like the
field
Eagles.
site.
I just think they're a much better football team than the Rams.
Yeah. These stadiums are just where concerts are held, bro, and they happen to play football games. Same thing when Kansas City goes to SoFi to play the Chargers, it's 50-50. You know what I mean? When the Niners go there to play the Rams, it's 50-50. It's just a money grab, man. And I'm not a big believer in the Rams here. Not in this spot, man. The Eagles know that I have them pegged to go to Detroit and play in January. And there's no worse decision in all major sports over the last decade, in my mind, than paying Daniel Jones and not paying Saquon Barkley. And there's no team in the NFL that overcomes bad coaching more just on talent alone than the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Saquon Barkley literally allows the Eagles to run, I'd say, 30 more plays than an average football team can run because he just opens the entire field. Other teams can't do that. And the thing is, they also have a good defense that hasn't played up to what they're worth. There's studs all over the Eagles, man. And you're finally seeing it a little bit. And I think flying across the country shouldn't scare you. I think Devontae Smith being out with the hamstring shouldn't scare you. A.J. Brown, just like Jay Jettis, has not had a big year, but he's still A.J. Brown. And I don't care how you stack the box. You could stack the box against Saquon. To me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If the Eagles lose this game, it will be because of poor coaching. Nick Sirianni, to me, is a horrendous coach that gets bailed out weekly by his talent. And I think the same thing happens here. The Rams will put up a fight. I could see it being a push as well, but I'm going to take the Eagles here with confidence just because the Eagles are watching what other teams who are ascending are doing. And like in my mind, there's only 4 teams that can win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, and who's the 4th team? And the Lions, right? But here's the thing. The Eagles are on the other side of that door knocking, and they want in that conversation. And if you're going to be in that conversation, this is a team you have to steamroll. You have to steamroll. You have to hold Puka. You have to hold Cooper Kupp. You have to hold them down. And Kyron Williams is a small running back running against that stout front 4. Give me the Eagles minus the 3. And I like them with confidence here. I don't care who's playing, who's not. They're just a better football team.
Last game of the week, it's the Harbaugh Bowl. It's the Ravens traveling to Los Angeles.
I had this one circled.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is one of the biggest games of the season. Both teams are in very similar spots. I mean, they're only missing a bye week between them. I don't know. You know what? I'm just going to take the Chargers because the plus the points. When these two brothers play each other, it just feels like a field goal game. So if I'm going to lean on one side, I just take the plus points. And the Chargers are a pretty decent football team. I have to give them a lot more credit.
They're good,
coaching,
bro.
Man. Coaching matters,
Good
obviously.
coaching matters. We say it all the time. Matters.
And the Chargers are obviously have a lot of momentum right now. I mean, the Ravens do too, to be fair, but I don't know. I feel like they're just going to figure out a way to like keep this game close. And I wouldn't shock me to see the Chargers win this game either. I'm almost surprised this isn't a pick 'em. It's like I feel like the Ravens are a beatable football team.
Absolutely.
And the Chargers gave up way too many points against the Bengals, man. I'm still surprised about that. Yeah, and I know the Bengals offense is like historic, essentially.
High-powered offense, exactly.
Yeah. I don't think the Ravens are that high-powered. I don't think it's comparable. So I don't know. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a game I enjoy. I don't think I'm going to put any money on it. This is just going to be a game where you just sit back and enjoy.
Everyone laughed at me in the beginning of the year when I put this in my top 10 best games of the year. This is why, man. I saw this coming, dude. Harbaugh has turned that team around. Guys, you cannot minimize the effect a great coach has on a football team and a great franchise quarterback. It is everything. All the teams that win the Super Bowl, they have these things. Owner, GM, HC, starting franchise quarterback. And you are seeing literally the Chargers are going to make the playoffs if this continues, man. The Chiefs get the Chargers in a couple weeks. I'm concerned about that game. That is not an easy W. And I know they gave up a ton of points. And I know the Cincinnati Bengals blew that game. But that defense plays hard. Hard. And they run the ball like there's no tomorrow. And Khalil Mack might be back here. And I'm not concerned with what the Ravens are doing, really. I mean, I put them in that echelon of teams that can win the Super Bowl simply on talent. Because Lamar Jackson is unbelievable. But their defense stinks. Their defense is not good, guys. The loss of Patrick Queen, the day their coaches left, they're not good. Dude, they give up 30 points regularly. Guys, they are not a good defense here. And the Chargers are going to play very well at home. And low-key, man, Justin Herbert's in the MVP conversation. You guys got to start giving this kid his flowers, man. Coaching has elevated what Justin Herbert is doing in the NFL. He is a top 5 quarterback. doesn't turn the ball over, can run, big, strong, can take over the field. I'm telling you, let that team get T. Higgins. And you get McConkey. McConkey's a great pick. This is what I'm talking about in the NFL, man. You have all these top picks that come in, right, Spence? And then you have all these ancillary players that are day 2 or day 3 guys. They're outperforming these top picks. I would take McConkey in a second over Xavier Worthy again. In a second. The kid gets open. He's tough as nails, and he reminds me of like Wes Welker. He just gets open, and he catches everything that comes his way. That's going to be a weapon for years for LA. What a great pick for them. And the defense is not giving up tons of points. I love them in this game. I don't see how this game isn't a pick 'em. And you're going to give me the big brother versus little brother thing? I'm telling you, I think this is going to be one of the best games of the year simply because everyone's going to expect Lamar to just run this team over. And I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Joey Bosa's actually been playing better, and that guy's a bum. He is a bum. Derwin James is old, and he is still crushing. You cannot minimize what a good coach will do for a mediocre team. And the Chargers were just that. They were mediocre last year, and look at them now. Chargers +3 is the play, and I'm taking them with confidence. And if I win any kind of money this weekend, it's all going on LA. Parting shots.
All right.
Let's hear the Wiz's tickets.
I'm going for the point tickets this week, man. I'm going for all the points I can get. I like the Dallas Cowboys +17, I like the Patriots +14, and I like the Giants +13. I mean, this is I don't know. We talked about it earlier, but I just love the dogs this week, man. If I'm getting all these points with them, and I feel confident some of these teams can win these games.
They might win these games.
Yeah, I feel good about this ticket. I really like it this week.
Yeah, I like that ticket a lot, and I love the underdogs this week. I think a lot of these underdogs could potentially pull out upsets. My parting shots, I kind of alluded to it, but I'm going to double down on it because I've just seen it happen so many times now with these big-name quarterbacks and like what happened with Daniel Jones. I mean, I'm glad he asked for his release because now the Giants can start over. You know what I mean? Whether it's with DeVito or someone that's new that's coming in. Hell, it could be Shedeur Sanders. I mean, who knows? But at some point, you have to rip that Band-Aid off, man. I mean, look how fast the Rams bounce back. Look how fast Denver has bounced back. These teams, it doesn't take 2 years to bounce back in the NFL if you have good coaching. It just doesn't. And Brian Daboll's a good coach. He could survive this. Get Daniel Jones out of there and let's start over. The Giants have to be a place where guys want to go play, where free agents want to go play. And it's not going to happen if that's your quarterback. And Kevin Stefanski, if you're listening, you guys need to do the same thing with Deshaun Watson here. Cleveland winning that game on Thursday is not shocking to me because the Dog Pound they are a proud franchise. They have never won much of anything, but they are always showing up. Same thing with Big Blue. These guys, their fans show up and they deserve winners, but you guys holding on to these bums that you don't really want simply because they have heavy-duty contracts, you're robbing your franchise of an opportunity to move forward. You really are. Cut ties and move on. I have spoken. World of Matches bringing the heat. That's week 12. Week 13's coming, guys. Boy, this season is flying by, man. My goodness.
Terrible.
Playoffs are coming. Winter is coming. I'm telling you, this has gone very, very quickly. We appreciate the likes, the subs. We appreciate all the love. Hopefully you guys are making money, but not going broke doing it, not pawning your wife's wedding rings or stealing your mortgage money to gamble on football. If that is you, check out gamblersanonymous.com. It's a real thing. We do this for fun, but we do not want to see anybody put their livelihood in harm's way. On behalf of Spencer the Wiz, I am Dexter Reed. We are coming to you all live and direct from Las Vegas. Enjoy the games, guys. We're out.
See you next week.
Spencer, have a good one, man. I'll talk to you later.